I'm here with Mary and Diane from the Musqueam, and I'm just very delighted to have you here today. And we're here to talk a little bit about National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. But before we start, I'd like to hand this to Mary to welcome us in the right way at this point.
Haichka, Alan. Asiamnesiaya, and the Mary Point, Tanitsana Kumatquim. Ichla Kathanasiaya, Diane Herman. Amitsep Kotquilim. Honored visitors, in the language of my ancestors, I let you know that my name is Mary Point, and I'm from Musqueam, and with me is my dear friend and relative, Diane Herman. And I welcomed you in our language, which is Hunkaminam. It's important that we do welcome you. We've always done that when we've had new visitors to our community, to our territory. And we like to let you know that this is our protocol, and this is how we like to begin relationships in a good way. As well, in this time of learning and reconciliation, and in advance of the questions we're about to go through with Alan, I'd like to start this session off with a song from my great uncle Dominic Point. His traditional name was Tiakthat, and it's our Musqueam paddle song. It's a song that we would sing when entering into a new community to let people know that we're coming in a good way with good intentions. It's a song that we sing standing on the shores, letting people know a little bit about who we are. It's also a song that we sing at the beginning of any new journey, a wedding, a funeral, a graduation, or like today, this time of learning that we're going to share together. So I'll sing, normally it would be sung in 4 rounds. And it's a song that you would hear if you were out in our community, but I'll just sing a little introduction of it for today. And then perhaps when we have a chance to gather in person, we'll spend a little more time and we'll learn it together. Thank you so much. Thank you. And
before we get into questions, I just wanted to say thank you so much for agreeing to do this today and welcome me to your unceded territory. It's just very humbled. Thank you. So, if it's okay, I'd like to ask a few questions from the perspective. We're an organization that works with newcomers to Canada. And I was saying that many newcomers really don't know that much about the reality of indigenous history. I didn't. I came to Canada in 2005. I didn't really know. And that's kind of a double-edged sword. You come without the preconceptions, but at the same time, you don't have the knowledge. So I was going to ask you about this new holiday, this new federal holiday that's there. What does that mean, really, to you, Mary, and you, Diane? Is that something that's important? Is it a recognition of something that's important, or is it something that's too little, too late? I mean, I'd like to get an idea of what that holiday means, really, to both of you, really.
Yeah, so I'll maybe say, just working backwards from what you said there, it's not too little, too late. We're in this time of learning, and there's a lot of heavy lifting on the learning at this point. It is a good answer to in the Truth and Reconciliation calls to action. Number 80 is to set aside a Remembrance Day for the children. So this is a day, especially in this time of ground penetrating radar and people going back to look up the reports from the Commission on Truth and Reconciliation. It is a time when people are learning and asking themselves, what can I do? So my feeling about this day, although for us as Indigenous people, we've been waiting for this to pass final reading and get approved for so many years. But still, for most organizations, communities, and businesses, it was a very short notice to find out that there's going to be a statutory holiday from June 21st to September 30th. It was a lot of scrambling. So everyone is trying to learn as well as they can and prepare. So I think it's important. I think it's incumbent upon everyone to take this time to think about why we're having this statutory leave day from work. It isn't just another day to go home and flip on the game and have a barbecue. We should think about why we're having this holiday, as it's so called. And it's a time for us to remember now more than ever in this, as we begin the journey of these statutory holidays, to think about all those children who are known to be buried in mass graves, who are still listed as just missing. And for those who did survive residential school, come home damaged, broken, wondering what happened, how they can ever recover from it. I think about the children who were buried in mass graves or who are still missing, and those children died feeling alone, feeling unloved, not knowing, they didn't have a ceremony, they were just put in the ground, no markers, no words said, they didn't know what happened. And for the children who were at the school, who saw their classmates go missing, who knew there were atrocities happening, they were children carrying that knowledge. That was really, really traumatic and not something that is easily let go of. And we're not talking about something that happened hundreds of years ago. Diane's mother went to residential school, and she's quite young in my view. She's in her 50s. I'm not saying anything out of turn, I hope, Diane. And my father, who passed away, he spent his whole life being angry at his mother for letting him go into that place, angry at us because we could never understand the atrocities that he went through as a child, stuck and unable to move forward. And these are just small examples of all of the fallout of that dark, dark time in our Canadian history. But I think above all, it's important to remember, since the objective of having residential schools was to break us apart from our natural line of support, separate us from our brothers and sisters, separate us from our parents, disempower our parents, remove cultural teachings, try and eradicate our history, try and eradicate our language. It was a giant fail. I mean, they hurt a lot of people, but we're still here. We're still celebrating our culture. We're still speaking our language. We're still moving forward. We're moving forward with the knowledge of what happened to our families. And we hope that Canadians also move forward with that knowledge now that they know.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. And Diane, could I ask you your thoughts on the importance of this day?
I find this new holiday coming up very important within my family, and I know it's needed. And to celebrate the day, I know that I would plan to be with my family and to learn more of the history myself, because it is very hard for my family members that attended residential schools to share their stories. They hold them tight because they don't want to share that pain. And it's important because we know that they need it. They need the healing, but we also need the learning.
Yeah.
And for my daughter, myself, I find it important because I don't know how they would feel, how I could go through that pain that my grandmother went through, where her children were taken and brought to those schools. I don't know how I would react if that ever happened to my own daughter. I plan on teaching my daughter and reading her those children's books that have now been coming out about Orange Shirt Day, about residential schools.